Imagine walking through your day. Everything seems normal, routine, familiar, even peaceful. But underneath the surface, something doesn't quite sit right. You can't see it, yet it's there, quietly shaping your thoughts, your choices, your perspective. It's as if there's a battle going on that you're barely aware of, and yet it's affecting you deeply. In fact, what you're experiencing might just be part of a much larger, invisible struggle that's been going on for centuries. Welcome to today's episode as part of our daily Jesus Devotional series. Today I want to talk about a battle that's not fought in the open, but in the quiet moments, in the spaces we often overlook. A battle that's been waged from within. This silent war is one where evil doesn't come with loud, dramatic confrontations, but rather it creeps in slowly, through things that seem harmless at first, but in reality they're quietly eating away at our beliefs and values. This is a topic that we all need to reflect on, how subtle everyday distractions are slowly eroding our spiritual awakening. So let's take a step back, look at the world around us, and see how we can guard our hearts against the hidden attacks on our faith. The subtle nature of the battle. It's easy to think of the enemy as something that we can easily identify. Maybe we imagine evil as something overt, something that's loud and obvious. But the truth is, the most dangerous attacks often come in ways we least expect. They don't come with horns and a pitchfork. They come with distractions, temptations, and the things that we take for granted as normal in our world today. Look around at the world we live in. We live in a society that constantly pulls us in 1,000 different directions. From the moment we wake up, our minds are bombarded with messages, information, and demands. And while some of these may seem neutral or even beneficial on the surface, many of them slowly divert our attention from what truly matters: our relationship with God and our spiritual growth. In the Bible, the enemy is often described as one who deceives. In John 8:44, Jesus refers to the devil as a liar and the father of lies. But here's the kicker: those lies don't always come in the form of a direct, malicious attack. Sometimes they come in the form of things we overlook, small compromises, little distractions, and subtle shifts in our thinking that lead us away from God's truth. How the enemy works in the modern world? Let's talk about the tactics that the enemy uses today. One of the most powerful tools at his disposal is the seemingly harmless thing. Think about it. How many times have we justified something because it didn't seem like a big deal? It's just a little screen time, or it's just a little gossip. These small moments of compromise add up, and before we know it, we're far from the path we once walked with God. Paul's letter to Timothy in 2 Timothy 3:1-5 paints a picture of what the last days will look like. He writes, "But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people." When I read these verses, it's striking how much they resemble the world we live in today. People have become lovers of themselves, driven by self-interest rather than love for God. Our society is increasingly marked by pride, selfishness, and a disregard for the things that truly matter, like kindness, compassion, and love for one another. This is a key part of the silent war we're facing. It's not always a battle we can see, but it's a battle we feel in our hearts, in the way we interact with the world, and in the values we hold. And we must be vigilant, because these traits aren't just distant problems. They're becoming a part of who we are, subtly creeping into our daily lives. The danger of harmless things are. As I sit back and reflect on the past year, I often find myself asking, where did it all go? How many hours did I waste scrolling through endless feeds, diving into mindless entertainment, and consuming things that, in the grand scheme of life, carry no real weight? And yet it's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking it's harmless. It's just a little entertainment, just a few moments of distraction. But what I've come to realize is that these harmless distractions aren't harmless at all. They're like small cracks in the foundation of our faith that slowly grow over time, weakening our spiritual core without us even noticing. We live in a world where distractions are constant. Social media, news cycles, streaming shows. They don't come with flashing warning signs. They appear innocent at first, almost like a comfort. But when we spend more time engaging with these fleeting things, we're unknowingly letting them shape our thoughts, our emotions, and even our very purpose. The more we let these things fill our time, the less room we leave for what truly matters. We lose precious moments that could be spent nurturing our souls, praying, reflecting, meditating on God's Word. We all know how easy it is to reach for our phones in the morning instead of opening our Bible. A few minutes turns into hours, and before we realize it, the day is gone, and we're left feeling empty, like we've given away pieces of ourselves to things that don't last. And the scariest part is, these small choices, these insignificant distractions, begin to pull us away from the very essence of our spiritual awakening. They dull our ability to hear God's voice amidst the noise of the world. We start to forget what truly nourishes us and lose sight of the eternal truths that bring peace, fulfillment, and purpose. It's not that these distractions are inherently bad, they're just not the right focus. But over time, they wear down our spiritual defenses, leaving us vulnerable to the subtle whispers of the enemy. When we become disconnected from what truly grounds us, it's easy to drift away from the path we were meant to walk. The call to wake up. So what can we do to break free from this quiet, almost imperceptible erosion of our faith? How do we protect our spiritual awakening from the constant pull of distractions and the subtle attacks that threaten to derail us? It begins with awareness, an awareness of where we are, where we've been, and where we're heading. We need to wake up to the fact that we may have allowed small, seemingly innocent things to fill the space that once belonged to our relationship with God. It's easy to go through life on autopilot, drifting from one distraction to another, not realizing the impact it's having on our souls. But we cannot afford to be passive in this fight. We must stop and ask ourselves, what am I truly prioritizing in my life? Are these fleeting distractions, endless scrolling, shallow conversations, temporary pleasures, taking the place of the deep, lasting connection I should have with God? Am I falling into the trap of loving the world more than I love Him? Am I so caught up in things that won't matter in the end that I'm neglecting the things that will? In the hustle and noise of the world, it's easy to let time slip away. We find ourselves pouring energy into things that, in the grand scheme, offer no eternal reward. So the question becomes, are we investing in things that matter for eternity? Or are we squandering our time on things that will fade away, things that won't stand the test of time, or more importantly, the test of God's will? This is why, as part of our spiritual growth, we must continually examine how we spend our time, energy, and focus. The Bible urges us to make intentional choices every day, choices that reflect our true priorities. Romans 12:2 provides a powerful reminder for us. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. This renewal of the mind is where true transformation begins. It's not just about changing what we do, but about changing how we think. We need to realign our thoughts with God's Word, allowing the truth of His promises to reshape our hearts and minds. This means taking active steps to focus on what truly matters: our relationship with God, our spiritual awakening, and our ability to recognize His voice in the midst of all the noise. Transformation happens when we make daily, intentional choices to center our lives around His will, to renew our hearts with His truth, and to actively choose what brings eternal value over temporary distractions. Steps to begin, starting with the smallest things. Once we've recognized the need for change, the next step is often the hardest: actually starting. It's easy to feel paralyzed, unsure of where to begin. But the truth is, the smallest steps can have the biggest impact. You don't need to make dramatic changes all at once. Instead, start with small, intentional actions that can build momentum over time. Here are a few simple steps to get started.